Hello everyone. Welcome to BYK Book Summary. I am Amin. Here we decode the inspiring journey, mental warfare, and empire building life lesson of the world greatest legend. Today topics and their biggest secret are right on your screen. Let's dive in with my AI co-host.
Imagine walking into like a performance review. You sit down, you slide your portfolio across the desk.
Right, hoping for the best.
Exactly. And the executives, they take this quick glance before saying, well, we'll give you $12 for this.
Ouch. Yeah, that's a rough day at the office.
Right. But fast forward a decade. You walk into that exact same room in the exact same industry, and they slide a check across the table for $2,000.
Which completely shifts the paradigm, I mean,
Yeah.
that kind of multiplier, you aren't just getting a raise. The marketplace is basically acknowledging that you have become a foundational asset.
Totally. Now, I want you to multiply those numbers by 1,000.
Okay, wow.
Yeah. Today we are talking about a real-world jump from an initial valuation of 10 lakh rupees.
Which is what, roughly 12,000 US dollars?
Exactly, all the way to a 17 crore or roughly $2 million franchise captaincy.
That is just, it's an astronomical rise.
It really is. But here is the contradiction that makes this whole story so compelling, right?
Yeah.
Despite that massive rise in market value, this person remains, somehow, one of the most underrated professionals in his entire field.
Which is really the perfect lens for what we're looking at today. We're exploring that weird space between massive financial valuation and, public perception.
Right.
Because why does the market value someone at $2 million while the public is still, actively questioning their place among the greats?
That doesn't make sense. But welcome to today's deep dive. We are unpacking a meticulously detailed script from BYK Book Summary. It's titled The Quiet Champion, KL Rahul's Relentless IPL Journey.
It's a great source. Really thorough.
Yeah, it really is. And our mission today is to look at the career of Conor Lokesh Rahul. But, if you aren't a massive cricket fan, don't worry at all.
Right, because we aren't just doing some basic sports recap here.
Exactly. We are analyzing his evolution as a masterclass in building professional brand value, extreme physical resilience, and really the power of quiet consistency in a world that aggressively rewards the loudest voices.
And the source material paints such a fascinating picture here. I mean, this isn't your typical story of raw, unbridled street talent fighting its way to the top.
Yeah, not at all.
It's a deeply analytical look at how someone with a highly structured, very disciplined background entered this chaotic, high-pressure, billion-dollar environment of the IPL and basically conquered it using calculated risk.
Yeah, and to understand that calculated risk, we really have to look at the environment he grew up in. So KL Rahul was born in April 1992 in Bangalore into a world where, honestly, sports were kind of secondary.
Right, he's literally the professor's son.
Yes. His father, KN Lokesh, is a professor of civil engineering and a former director of the National Institute of Technology, Karnataka. And his mother, Rajeshwari, is an associate professor at Mangalore University.
So we're talking about a household where education isn't just like a backup plan.
No, it is the absolute defined path to success. The blueprint is already laid out for you from day one.
Which means choosing professional sports over a guaranteed prestigious academic blueprint is, well, it's a massive psychological leap.
Totally.
The source text makes a brilliant point here, actually. It says that choosing cricket, when academia is essentially the family religion, it isn't just about having athletic talent.
Right, bigger than that.
Yeah, it's about an intense, stake-your-life-on-it conviction. When you come from a family of academics, you don't just go out and play a sport. You study it. You approach it with a rigorous, almost scientific methodology.
Think about that through the lens of civil engineering, right? If your dad teaches the physics of building bridges, you understand that you never start by building the penthouse.
Exactly. You have to build the foundation first.
Right. And Rahul didn't just walk up to the crease and start swinging wildly, just to impress some scouts. He brought an academic's discipline to his technique.
He really did.
He studied the geometry of the field, the physics of a bowler's release point.
The specific angles required to minimize risk while maximizing runs.
Yes. He literally engineered his batting stance from the ground up, which is fascinating.
And that engineering mindset is crucial for survival. Because when he finally made his IPL debut in 2013 for the Royal Challengers Bangalore, I mean, the market didn't just hand him a golden ticket,
No, they definitely did not. They bought him for that 10 lakh base price.
which is roughly $12,000.
Right.
In the context of a billion-dollar league, that price tag is the franchise basically saying, well, we are curious, but you are completely unproven, so show us.
But hold on, put yourself in the shoes of a 20-year-old who has just defied his academic parents to stake his entire life on this sport. Isn't a $12,000 valuation almost like a slap in the face?
Oh, absolutely.
You're sharing a dressing room with international superstars who are making millions, and you are valued at the absolute league minimum. How does that not just completely shatter your confidence?
Well, for a lot of players, it actually does. They overcompensate. They try to hit every single ball out of the stadium to prove they're worth more, and, they inevitably fail.
Right, they press too hard.
Exactly. But Rahul used 2013 to establish what the source calls his quiet foundation. He didn't chase headline-grabbing stats. He focused entirely on technical solidity.
Which is so rare for a young player.
It is. Anyone watching the mechanics of his swing saw a player who was stripping the game down to its fundamentals, making sure his foundation was entirely crack-proof before he tried to build a skyscraper.
A foundation isn't a career, though,
True.
You can't stay at the base level forever if you actually want to survive in professional sports. The market demands a finished product eventually.
Right.
So we have to look at how that $12,000 rookie turned into a multi-million-dollar asset, because it didn't happen overnight.
No. That transformation happens during what is arguably the most crucial, yet completely overlooked, part of his career. The source calls it the invisible learning phase.
Oh, I love that term.
Yeah. So in 2014 and 2015, he moved to the Sunrisers Hyderabad for 1 crore, which jumps his salary to roughly $120,000.
Okay, so a nice bump.
It's a significant pay bump, yeah. But in terms of public attention, he was still operating completely in the shadows of the bigger stars.
I look at that phase as like the ultimate corporate sandbox. You have a decent salary, but you don't have the suffocating pressure of being the CEO quite yet.
That's a great way to frame it. He is facing world-class fast bowlers day in and day out, and he is learning the brutal rhythm of the highest level of T20 cricket.
Without the crushing weight of carrying the whole franchise on his back.
Exactly. The source emphasizes that what you do in this invisible phase, when the cameras are focused on other people, that determines your entire trajectory.
Because he was quietly optimizing his technique against the best in the world.
Right. And the return on that invisible optimization was just explosive. Fast forward to the 2018 auction. The Kings UCI Punjab franchise buys him for 11 crore.
Which is about $1.3 million.
Yeah. That is the market literally screaming that your invisible learning phase is officially over.
You're the main guy now.
You are the primary asset. And the crazy part, he immediately justified the check.
Oh man, this is my favorite part. In his very first match in the New Jersey, he faced his first delivery and went on to hit the fastest half-century in IPL history at the time.
It was unreal.
50 runs off just 14 balls, breaking Sunil Narene's record. There was no adjustment period at all. Just a blatant statement of arrival.
Delivering a world record in your first appearance under a massive new contract is such an anomaly, because the paralysis of the price tag is a very real phenomenon in sports.
Oh, for sure.
Players sign these massive deals, and suddenly they're thinking about the money instead of the ball.
I want to push on that a little bit, actually. Surely money changes the dynamic in the dressing room. I mean, you are 25 years old, suddenly making $1.3 million. There are veteran players on that team making a fraction of that.
No, yeah.
Doesn't that create an incredibly toxic environment, or just paralyzing pressure to be the hero every single night?
It absolutely can. But this is where the academic insulation we discussed earlier really kicks in. The money didn't change his preparation. His preparation insulated him from the pressure of the money.
It's a huge distinction.
Right. He approached that 14-ball 50 not as some desperate attempt to justify his price tag, but as the logical execution of his training. And the data proves it wasn't just a fluke fueled by adrenaline.
Well, I'm glad you brought up the data, because the sheer volume of his output here is staggering. KL Rahul is the only Indian batter to score 500-plus runs in 5 consecutive IPL seasons from 2018 to 2022.
And you have to consider the global context of those 5 years, right? You have a global pandemic, you have shifting tournament venues, rotating coaches, completely different tactical setup.
Total chaos, basically.
Exactly. And through all of that instability, he delivered an unrelenting baseline of 500 runs. In 2020, as a captain of Kings' Light Punjab, he scored 670 runs and won the Orange Cap.
which is the IPL's ultimate crown for the tournament's highest run scorer.
Yep.
You know, that 2020 season contains a moment that completely encapsulates his mindset. He's playing against his former team, Bangalore. He goes out and hits 132 runs without getting out.
69 balls, a massive strike rate.
At the time, it was the highest individual score ever by an Indian batter in IPL history. But here is the kicker, and this blows my mind. His team didn't even make the playoffs that year.
That detail is so vital. His personal output, winning the orange cap and hitting 132, it shows a player who is accountable to his own internal metrics, regardless of the team's overall dysfunction.
He's not getting dragged down by the environment.
Exactly. He isn't playing down to the level of a struggling team. He is maintaining an academic standard of excellence purely because that is the standard he set for himself.
But delivering that kind of value comes with a hidden tax, right? We've established that he's a run-scoring machine. Now we have to talk about the physical and mental reality of how he generated that value.
The burden of versatility.
Yes, we need to dissect that. Throughout this journey, KL Rahul wasn't just a batter. He was an opener, a middle-order batter, a captain, and crucially, a wicketkeeper.
The physical toll of wicket-keeping is something most casual observers fundamentally underestimate.
It looks exhausting just watching it.
Oh, it is. You are wearing heavy, restricted gear. You are squatting down and standing back up roughly 120 times over the course of 3 hours. And often in searing Indian heat that can easily top 100 degrees Fahrenheit.
And it isn't just the physical squatting, right? The cognitive load is brutal. For the listener who might not be familiar, the wicketkeeper is essentially the director of the field. You are responsible for catching every single delivery that the batter misses.
Right.
But beyond that, you are making split-second DRS calls, the decision review system. You have exactly 15 seconds to look at the captain and decide if a ball traveling at 90 miles an hour slightly grazed the batter's pad before hitting the bat.
While a crowd of 40,000 people is screaming at 110 decibels.
Exactly. The mental taxation of making those micro decisions is exhausting. Now, take that exhausted player, have him take off the heavy wicket-keeping gear, strap on batting pads, and immediately walk out to the pitch as an opener.
Which is, for those outside the cricket world, being an opener is essentially volunteering to be the team's human shield.
That's a perfect way to put it.
You are facing the absolute fastest bowlers the opposing team has. The ball is brand new, it is rock hard, and the theme is pristine, meaning the ball is swinging wildly in the air at 150 kilometers per hour.
So shifting your nervous system from the defensive, observational crouch of a wicketkeeper to the aggressive, split-second survival mode of an opening batter, that requires a psychological gear shift that very few humans possess.
It really does.
If you've ever had to cover for, 3 different coworkers while your boss is on vacation, you understand a fraction of this mental load. It's like being asked to be the CEO, setting the vision, the lead software engineer writing the code, and the HR director managing the complaints.
All at the exact same time.
Yes. While still hitting every quarterly target. Which brings me to a debate I think we really need to dig into. Has being this adaptable actually hurt his legacy?
Oh, that's a great question.
Because we live in an era where we fetishize specialists. Virat Kohli is a master batter. Rohit Sharma is a master batter. Rahul is a Swiss Army knife. Because he never complained and just filled whatever hole the team had, is he a victim of his own versatility?
I would argue yes. Honestly, from a public perception standpoint, sports narratives crave simplicity. We like to put athletes in neat, easily definable boxes.
Right.
When someone is a pure specialist, their storyline is clean. When someone is a Swiss Army knife, the public takes their adaptability for granted. They just assume that because you can do everything, well, none of it must be particularly difficult for you.
The classic jack of all trades, master of none dilemma.
Exactly. Though in his case, he was mastering several trades simultaneously. The source argues that versatility is the most undervalued trait in professional sports. He delivered across 5 different franchises, seamlessly shifting gears without demanding the media spotlight.
But the cost of that adaptability is that he is often placed, 3rd or 4th in the conversation about IPL greats, despite producing the statistical output of a number 1.
It's unfair, but it's true.
And the human body simply isn't designed to pay that versatility tax forever. Even the most meticulously engineered foundations develop cracks.
Yeah, we have to talk about the injuries.
Let's look at the physical toll and what the source calls his mental fortress. The pattern of injury in his career is frankly terrifying. In 2017, right after a breakout season, He suffered a severe shoulder injury that erased his entire year.
To lose a year when you are finally capturing the attention of the global market it's devastating. You lose momentum, you lose your spot in the lineup, and you lose a year of prime earning potential.
And then the nightmare repeated itself. In 2023, while he was the captain of the Lucknow Supergiants, a severe thigh injury completely derailed his season.
He had to undergo major surgery.
Right. He missed crucial games, the team suffered, and the media immediately circled the wagons. You know how the sports news cycle works.
Oh, they can be brutal.
They start questioning his durability. They ask if he has lost his reflexes, if the heavy lifting of captaincy and keeping wicket has finally just broken him.
And injuries of that magnitude, they don't just damage muscle tissue. They test your psychological relationship with your own body.
Because you have to trust it again.
Exactly. You have to learn to trust a surgically repaired limb under the immense pressure of millions of viewers. The true mark of an elite athlete isn't avoiding injury. It is whether the injury diminishes them, or if they use the rehabilitation process to come back even more dangerous.
But imagine your entire livelihood, your legacy, and millions of dollars relying on a muscle you just spent 6 months rehabilitating. How do you not mentally collapse under that anxiety? What makes his mental fortress different from, the dozens of players we've seen fade into obscurity after going under the knife?
It goes right back to the academic discipline we started with. He trusts the underlying math of his preparation. After that 2017 shoulder surgery, he returned to hit that record-breaking 14-ball 50.
He didn't just ease back into the game.
No, he shattered a record.
And look at how he handled the leadership burden in 2022. He was handed the captaincy of the Lucknow Supergiants. This is a brand new franchise.
Which is so different from joining an established team.
Exactly. Taking over a team like Chennai or Mumbai is stepping into a well-oiled machine with an established culture. Taking over LSG is stepping into an empty room. There is no legacy, no tribal fan base to support you, no pre-existing culture at all.
And he took that empty room and built a playoff team in their very first season, scoring 616 runs in the process. That is leadership forged in absolute resilience.
Wow.
But the ultimate proof of his mental fortress comes after the 2023 thigh surgery.
This really is the crescendo of the whole story. Following this surgery and all the media doubt, he moves to the Delhi Capitals for the 2025 season. They pay him 14 crore.
Roughly $1.7 million.
Yes. It's his 5th IPL team. A new city, a new dressing room, a completely new set of expectations.
And he immediately delivers 539 runs with a massive average of 53.90.
Incredible.
He didn't just survive the transition, he anchored the team.
But I'll take it a step further because the pinnacle of this comeback happens the very next year, 2026. He is playing against the Punjab Kings, the team that used to employ him.
Right, his old stomping ground.
The team where he made his name. He walks out onto the pitch with a surgically repaired thigh in the latter stages of his career, and he hits 152 not out.
Let that number sink in for a second. 152 not out.
It's wild.
It is the highest individual score by an Indian batter in the entire history of the Indian Premier League.
Which is just...
To achieve that after multiple major surgeries, after being written off as too injury-prone, after carrying the administrative burden of 5 different franchises, it completely breaks logic.
13 years after a room full of executives looked at him and basically said, "You are worth $12,000, he goes out and sets an unbreakable record against the fiercest bowling attacks in the world.
It's poetic.
It really is. When we step back and look at this entire 13-year timeline, traversing 5 franchises, scoring 5,687 total runs, hitting 6 centuries and 43 50s, it paints a picture that forces us to redefine what dominance actually looks like.
Because dominance in modern sports is usually associated with loud, boastful press conferences and viral social media clips.
Totally.
But the conclusion drawn from this BYK book summary is profound. Rahul's ultimate legacy isn't about chasing the immediate applause of the crowd. His legacy is an unwavering, almost stubborn accountability to his own internal standard of excellence.
He proved that being underrated isn't a permanent failure. Being underrated is just a phase.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
It's a waiting room until your performance becomes so mathematically undeniable that the critics simply run out of oxygen.
The people who answer with their performance rather than their words always get the final say. That 152 not out wasn't just a great innings, it was the final say on his value.
Quiet consistency is the loudest statement. That is the core lesson we can extract from the career of Lokesh Rahul. We've tracked a guy who started as a professor's son, applying civil engineering logic to a cricket bat.
We watched him navigate the insult of a league minimum contract.
Use the invisible years to optimize his craft and handle the paralyzing pressure of multi-million-dollar price tags. He bore the excruciating physical tax of wicket-keeping and the psychological terror of opening the batting.
Suffered devastating physical breakdowns and responded by breaking historical records.
And he accomplished every piece of that timeline without ever demanding that the spotlight be solely on him. He just quietly built a structural masterpiece.
Which makes you wonder about the structures we are building in our own lives, doesn't it?
It really does. We live in a digital ecosystem where algorithms are explicitly designed to reward the loudest, most controversial, and most outrageous voices in the room.
Absolutely.
It can feel like if you aren't screaming for attention, you are invisible. But looking at the timeline of the professor's son, I want to leave you with this thought to mull over. In a world completely obsessed with viral, temporary noise, is the era of the quiet champion actually coming to an end? Or is a quiet, undeniable consistency about to become the single most valuable, scarce commodity we have left? Think about it. We'll see you on the next deep dive.
So friends, that was the complete breakdown. Make sure to take a screenshot of this growth gift, this infographic, so this lesson stay with you. If you want to learn from legends every single day, join our community. I am Amin. Always remember, read more, think deeper. Let me know in the comments who we should cover next. See you in next episode.